Guys, I just did my first interview with a guest, my good friend Chen, who added over 100 members to his facility. We covered branding, marketing, the best paid offers that he did, the fit over 40, fit over 50. We also talked about sales, how he's really big on tracking his sales stats, also some of the mentors and the best things he learned about sales, and also what he's doing now, the really unique system called ACR. So I had an absolute blast. I hope you guys love the podcast. It's definitely my first guest, and if you guys like it, I'll definitely get some more guests on. Alrighty, guys, got my good friend Jackson on today. He had a fucking incredible year last year, guys. He added over 100 members to his business, like post-coronavirus and things like that. He's got some cool, exciting things that he's done from the growth of his business with a product called ACR now, which we might mention at the end. So Jackson, man, as I was saying, I'm super nervous. You're my first guest on the podcast, so don't screw it up.
I'll try not to, man. I'm seasoned at this.
But mate, tell us a little bit about last year. So we want to kind of dive into it on the Gym Growth podcast. People, help them grow more, help them get more leads, help them get more sales. You had a ton of mentors, some of the very best in the industry.
Yeah, for sure.
Mate, with your marketing, you do something a little bit unique, which not many gyms do, where you focus on brand. Like when we were running your ads last year, we had a lot of video views, a lot of engagement posts.
Yep.
And tell me like a little bit about that and why you believe in building your brand so heavily for your local business.
I think one of the key things that, especially coming back out of coronavirus and last year, like everyone was running leads or different people were running leads. And one of the things about branding was that we learned over the years or over the last few years of running a business was the fact that if people don't know about what you're about, don't know who you are, it's very hard for you to sell or tell them about your services. It's kind of like when you say like a brand like, Toyota or even Tesla, just by saying the name itself, you already know what it's about. Like without even, the branding was so important. I think that was the one thing I really want to focus on to start putting it out there in the marketplace of, what we're about, what we do, the services, and how we actually position ourselves in the marketplace.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because you spent like a lot of money on this, like not insane amounts, but definitely part of your revenue on it. And we actually had this same problem at Code 5. I'm not sure I've ever told you, but we were running ads just cold offer marketing for ages, and it was like crushing it. And then I was working with a guy named Kim Barrett from Your Social Voice. He was teaching me about ads.
Yep.
And he's just like, you're constantly just asking people to get into bed with you, pretty much. Just like, hey, come join my program.
Yep.
And like what did you find? Like, did you find by doing that, like, did it improve your sales? Like what noticeable difference did you find off running those kind of strategies?
I think one of the most important difference we've found, like you said, it is like that. It's like having a date, right? You just ask someone to get in bed with you without getting to know them. Like, whereas the whole part of branding was actually telling people what you're about, a little bit about your vision, a little bit about your mission, and really actually getting the messaging right in terms of, okay, what we have to offer is solving your problem. So after we started doing that, we do the marketing side of things where we actually market to those people with those particular problems. So when they started talking to us, we're already established a relationship saying we have the solution to solve your problem, so that when they actually come to speak to us, it was much easier to have that conversation and actually convert down the track. It wasn't just like, oh, you make a phone call. It was just kind of like, oh, who are you? Sort of. I mean, we still have those, of course, but like it just noticeably, maybe by 10, 15%, we've seen that better lead quality and people are actually able to engage with us more because they've seen our videos, they've seen our stories, they've seen our Facebook lives, they've heard of our names and actually actively searched out where the gym is on Google or wherever. So they're actually looking for us because they've seen and recognize some of the things we've done on the podcast, on the Facebook.
Yeah, and we like in the gyms, like when I had Code 5, like I still run on the beach here, and I see like the apparel everywhere because we used to give out about 500 singlets every year, and that helps with branding. Like the more places you've seen, like branding up your car and making sure you wear your uniforms and giving apparel. But more so what Jackson's like talking about here is giving people like valuable results in advance. right? You can do it a couple of ways. Do you want to maybe share with the guys like your favorite ways of doing branding on Facebook ads and kind of how you like to do it?
Yeah, for sure. One of my favorite ways of doing it is always calling out to a specific target group that you're talking to. It could be mums or busy professionals, whatever that may be, and then also call it the problem they have. Like, let's say for mums, like, are you too busy to exercise, or are you looking to lose the post-baby weight? So we always call out the actual avatar, and then we actually address the actual problem. And the video actually talks about how we solve that problem. And so it's a very short live, or very short, promo, talk about, and talking to a very specific group of people as well too. And that's one of my favorite way of doing it, just simply because you are talking to a specific target audience and addressing problems. So it's not just like, hey, come and join us because we want to help you get fit, because getting fit isn't a very specific problem. Like, it's just very general. Whereas if you niche down into your pain points of your known group, then we'll be making marketing so much easier down the track.
Yeah, and for those like following along on the podcast or on video, what you can do on Facebook and Instagram, if someone has watched a percentage of your video, like 10 seconds, 25%, 55%, or 100%, for example, is you can then target those people and retarget them with ads. And I know everyone on here's a Fit Pro who's listening to this. This is like rife in the business coaching world. So you would be pixeled and repixeled, like guys like Traffic and Funnels and things like that. It's all about that retargeting and building the relationship. And probably the guy who's most famous on this, and I'm not sure if you've studied much of his stuff, is Frank Kern. Like, he's absolutely massive on it, where he runs funnels, he gets like millions of dollars, and you watch through 3 videos. And there's also a guy named Kevin Hutto who's really good at it as well. And mate, with if someone's starting out, right? So they want to add 100 members like yourself, and they want to focus like a little bit on branding, where would you get them to start? Like, is it focusing on their niche and identifying it, and how do they do the videos? Just maybe in 30, 45 seconds, something they can do over the next couple of weeks to improve their brand.
Yep. I think for that, first thing you need to identify is the people you want to serve. That's the most important part about any sort of marketing. Identify who you want to serve. And one of the things I do in recent talks is that identify who you want to serve and identify the 10 problems that you know of that they're having. And then from there, you create 10 to 12, 13 videos around that topic. And that's your topic for the next quarter. And then you rotate that through every single year. So every quarter, you're rotating 10 to 13 topics and addressing each of those. And then you can just do a Facebook Live. It's the best way of doing it because it's a video view, but do it always talking to your target, their problem, and your solution. That's kind of the solution, the formula what we're trying to work with.
Yep. Mate, nice and simple, hey? And that's what, like, the thing is, if you can keep things simple in business, guys, like, it's going to be done really consistently.
Yeah.
And, mate, let's get to the exciting stuff. I'm all about generating those leads, Jackson.
Yeah.
So we had a look over Jackson's ad accounts. We were lucky to run Jackson's ads over the last couple of years, but we had a look over the campaign. So just to recap, we did the Fit Over 40, which worked really well. That was a 28-day. Fit Over 50 works well. We tried a 21-day, but that didn't work as well. And we'll kind of cover maybe why you felt that kind of happened. And also we did like a giveaway. That was right after coronavirus, hey?
Yeah. The giveaway was actually towards the end of the year, I think it was.
Yeah. And I remember we did the $5 for 28 days when you were training in the park.
That's right.
I remember outside as well. Yeah, we did a lot of stuff. And that's the thing we talk a lot about in, marketing is you've got to test lots of different things. I think you've ran a 6-week before. When you first started, so you got a lot of different offers. And, here's what's a powerful question to ask Jackson is, what do you think the best offers are for your club that you've got the biggest return on investment are?
For us, I think it was definitely the 28 days. For us, it was definitely 28 days because one was consistent. It was a paid offer. We were able to easily liquidate the marketing costs based on that offer because we're converting at 33%, 34% from lead to actual membership, paid trial with the 28-day challenges. I think the other campaign didn't run as well for a couple of reasons. I think the 21 days were towards the end of the year, towards Christmas. And I already knew that it may not go as well, but the thing is that we wanted to generate leads anyway to remarket into the 6-week challenge for the new year. So it was all about collecting data. It was always about collecting more information and just building that database And same thing was what we did with the 12 month free was also about generating a lot of information and database that we can remarket to. I think a lot of people make the mistakes of stop marketing because they think it's not the right time to market. But I think my goal is always to spend money to collect data because I know one day they will eventually return if I'm marketing to them. Like if I don't have a database to market to, I don't have anyone to speak to and to sell my products to.
Yeah, and mate, I want to link that around. It wasn't actually in our notes, but you're very, very good with database marketing. It's something I'm super passionate about that people just don't do, which is while in December, like straight up, like it's harder to sell in December. It is. And you've done some amazing sales training, but it just is. But getting someone's name, email, and phone number, if you can put a value on that, guys, because you can run the war plan, and we'll talk about some things you do with VAs and stuff. So you never lose out unless you stop marketing to your database.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
And Jackson, over like kind of the last couple of months, there's been like a lot of changes in Facebook and things like that.
Yeah.
Have you kind of noticed like many differences in the marketing or in your lead cost, or for a lot of people saying like it's really hard to sell now after coronavirus? Like, would you have kind of any advice to them with their paid ads and their offers?
I think one of the things that it is getting more to get marketing, to get the lead cost down, especially in the Facebook world, because so many people are doing marketing. And I think the way you need to do is you need to have, I think we always talk about this, you always have multiple channels. You always keep the Facebook ads running, and you always need to make sure you continue to remarket to them on a regular basis every single month. And I think one of the most important things we try and do, especially to improve our marketing, is continue our organic, I guess, the content we put up in enough organic space where we're always giving value before they come to us. I think the more you do that, the more people are going to see you, and more likely they're going to trust what you do. Because we'll hear all the time, you need people to get to know you, like you, and trust you. And people don't buy from people they don't trust. And that's kind of what it comes down to. Like, and if you're just a brand new brand, they will see what you do, but they don't necessarily buy from it. But the more value, the more content you put out there when you're starting out, the better it is for you to create those lead generations when you do run ads. It is getting more difficult, but the thing is that it's just got to be smarter in what you do.
Yep. And my favorite quote, I love Grant Cardone a lot. Listening to his stuff, been all fired up last couple of weeks, but he says like people can't buy off you unless they know you, right? 100%. So we talk about a lot of things, like people be like, there's so many ways to market a business, and Facebook's probably the easiest because it works in your sleep. But more often than not, the biggest issue people have, and we're going to cover sales in a second, but just, I think in Rouse area, you probably have 70,000 people, and there's no way that all of them would know about Tribe Rouse and how amazing that you guys are. And that's always our first battle. Right. Making sure that everyone knows you, how do they see you as a brand? If you help them get results in advance with your videos. And that's why this branding is so important, and also constantly marketing as well, and rotating through offers and audiences. But mate, so you generated like a ton of leads. I didn't have the exact stats, but it would have been like well over 1,000 last year for sure, just off your ads. And we're going to talk about the organic you do, which is very special. I'm going to talk a bit about this database marketing, because obviously you've got ACR now, which is incredible company that's helping gym owners across the world cut down their sales calls, which that alone is amazing. We'll talk about that in a bit. But with the database, right, because you mentioned something really, really unique, that you'd get 33% of leads in, okay, which is about average, probably a little bit higher than average. Right, you can do a little bit better with constant follow-up to get those people up over time. But how do you market to your database? So what we're talking about here, guys, is the names, emails, phone numbers that Jackson has in a CRM, which he holds in a system called ACR. But how do you market to them ongoing, Jackson? And how do you get those people to come to, after maybe 6 weeks of opting in?
Yeah, so we have a system obviously set up in a way that as soon as they opt into our system, they obviously get nurtured. But when they don't become a client for whatever reason, there's a process that every single month they get sent out an offer, and that's automated. Like, it's an offer for could be just a 28 days with a 50% discount, but just a very simple offer beginning every single month, and that goes out to every single person via email and via text. Where I found that over the last 6 months or so, texting has been one of the better parts of delivering information to your potential clients. Emails, I check the stats on that. The deliverability is usually only about, say, open rate about maybe no more than say 40% at the most on
Yep.
these emails, and they get a lot of spam as well too. Don't forget. And then that's why we found that the SMS has been the best one, because we're getting, I would say, if you have never done a database reactivation campaign, you probably will get anything between 15 to maybe 10 to 15% first time that will return to your offer. And then from then on, you put average up between 2 and 7% that will re-opt in your database. So I collected over 2,500 names over the last 2 years in business. And every single month, we still probably generate upwards of about $500, $600, $700, maybe $1,000 worth of re-entered value for maybe 5 to 6 clients, just simply because they re-engage with it for a 28-day challenge. Like that's just every single month. These are databases. Just every single month they'll just come back, and then they'll start, and then maybe out of there we might get another 3 or 4 clients out of it because of that. And that just, if you're not doing that kind of database reactivation or database remarketing, then you're losing out at least 2 or 3 clients every single month.
Oh, it's insane. And remember at Code, we'd have a database of 11,000. So we are like in our inner circle program, and you know this, we believe in getting ahead of your lead target in the first week of the month. Yeah. So that's the only reason we do it in the first week, guys, because say Jackson needs, 80 leads for the month and 15, 20 trials, is we want to start the week ahead, right? It's like in a footy game or any sports. In golf, you want to, be a couple of points under. What's it called in golf?
Scores.
Score. It's called score.
Shots.
You want to be like on the front 9, you want to be 2 under, not 2 over, right?
That's right.
So that's why you want to do that.
Yeah.
Jackson's a big golfer, so try to change that around.
Yeah.
So that's a war plan. A lot of people do that at the start of every month. And I think, you get 5 people, 10 people, 15, depending. It truly just depends on your audience size.
Yeah, sure.
How many people you have. And that's why I'm not a massive fan with gyms running messenger ads. Because they're not in your, if Jackson has their name, email, phone number, he can do the war plan. He could do it twice a month. Wouldn't be recommended, but he could, right? But then Jackson can call everyone if he needs as well, right? And I want you guys to control your leads, which is why I prefer like conversion ads or lead generation ads and that kind of style.
For sure.
And Jackson, I want to bridge in just a little bit to your work with our queen. So we've got, Jackson's got a VA named Caroline. Caroline's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Because Jackson, your live videos, like you go live on like a Sunday, and I know that's not you actually going live. You got some pretty cool techie stuff that I don't even know about.
Yeah.
But tell us how you piece in together the VA and maybe just a couple of tech things that help you do your organic strategy really well.
Yep. So we do a video shoot once a month, and with myself, one of my coaches, and we do a filming day, maybe 3 or 4 hours, and we're planning, like I said, before, what are the 13 key areas I want to address in this set of videos, and we do all this filming, and then Caroline goes away and she cuts all the videos up, and then she makes it look prettier, put titles and everything like that, and then what she does is she uses a software called OneStream, and then schedule all the videos into a daily life. So it could be anything between a minute, could be up to 10 minutes, but she just schedules it in every single day. And then that's what she does. Like, and it's amazing. Like having a VA, it's an absolute game changer. Like, these are the things that would have taken me probably easily good to 20 hours to do to get all the things done. And that's just on if I do it fast. Like if you're not a very techie person and you don't know those software, it could take you a week to get it done. And that's super unproductive, right? So having a VA who can know how to do these things and has the ability to save you hours is going to give you time back to do the things you really need to do in business.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. And what else does your VA do for you? Just maybe Caroline, because I know you got a couple now.
Yeah, Caroline basically replaced everything I don't want to do and in terms of admin, and everything I can do remotely. Like she does all my cancellations, she does all the answering emails, she does all this. I've done onboarding by putting new members into the database. She answers all the queries. Like basically anything you want someone to do that can be done. Anything you want someone to do remotely, or that doesn't have to be physically present in a studio, she does for me. Like she runs an entire database for me in terms of marketing as well too. Like it's crazy how much she can actually do.
Yeah, and I say like a good VA will change your life, but more so with Jackson. a well-trained VA will change your life, because I think
Sure.
I've heard some absolute horror stories, and I've had some horror moments in my life as well with VAs.
Yep.
And when you started working with Caroline, like her product, the amount she upskilled in terms of her video production, that she does the war plan, like all these things you taught her how to do,
Yep.
and now she can do them herself. And I think where a lot of people are going wrong with VAs now is they're expecting the VA to come along and be a savior, like they're an inbuilt digital agency, when really, like, you've done so well with Caroline. Like, I've jumped on a couple of calls with her over the last couple of months, and just how you've really nurtured her, how you've led her to the like VA and staff member you want her to be. And she's an amazing human, but you've really created her, you know? And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong with VAs, is they just give them a ton of work and expect them to do it as well as what you would, without actually coaching them and being a real leader for them.
No, I totally agree. I think that's one of the most important things with working with VAs. Like, one, treating them as their regular staff, but also leading them and training them and giving them the tools. And I think one of the most important thing I've learned by working with VAs is that you have to empower them as well too. Like, you give them the skills that empowering them to do what you need to do, and then continue to touch base with them, because the more you teach them, the more that you buy back your time. And that's exactly what it is. You buy back your time in the business.
Oh, 100%. And mate, I want to kind of build on a little bit on sales. It was actually funny. One day, it was like just after coronavirus, I think. And I think during coronavirus, you're working with the guys from Sales Sniper, right? Like Matt Ryder and Closing Code. So anyway, Jackson and I have known each other for about 2 years now, maybe a little bit longer. And he always was doing his KPIs, but Jackson sent me this Excel once, and it was the most detailed analytic stats I've ever seen. Like, we asked for basic stuff. There was like closing percentage, everything. It was absolutely mind blowing. And now I think you recently just had, was it 6 to 8 weeks away from your gym, or are you even in there now, or do you head back?
Not really. I'm sort of home most of the time.
Okay. And that's kind of, not everyone wants that, and that's cool. But you recently just had a kid. Congratulations. But tell me how important this tracking data was for you when you're growing, right, to get to that 100, but then also how important it is for you now. So you don't even like live like 200 Ks away from your gym, right?
I do. Yeah, I do.
So give us a rundown, because if one person fucking watching this can do their VAs because of what you've done, it will. I'll just be the happiest man ever, because no one does their KPIs. So you let us know. You sell it for me, brother. You let me know how important it is.
I think one of the most important things anyone can do in the business is knowing the numbers. Like, if you don't know your numbers, I'm sorry to be blunt, but you're just never going to grow. I'm being very blunt, but it's just the way it is, because I did it because I didn't know my numbers. I didn't know how much I was spending. I didn't know how many leads I actually need. I had an aspiration to grow a certain rate, but I didn't know what I needed to generate in lead volume. I didn't know what my conversion rate needs to be. I didn't know what my, all these things in place. I didn't know what my show rate needs to be, how many calls I need to make. I didn't know any numbers. So you kind of like, shooting in the dark, right? So knowing your numbers allows me to know exactly where I need to focus on business. And that's a really important thing to know. Where do you need to focus on? So during the coronavirus, I actually identified a few things, and I identified some of the sales issues I was having. I wasn't able to convert them on the phone to make into sales. That's why we reached out to Sales Sniper and Matt and just got coached in the process. But knowing my numbers allow me to go, I can comfortably say I want to spend $1,000 a week on ads, and know I'm going to get 45 leads or 30, 40 leads coming in. I can convert them at 33%. If I was converting at 20%, then I need to make sure I have more leads, and also have to track how much the lead costs are per lead to know how much I actually spend. Then that will also allow me to adjust how much I need to be recouping on the offer. There's no point running an offer for $19, which I did at one stage for a month, and then paying $30 a lead for those leads, because I wasn't able to recoup my cost. So knowing your numbers, tracking your numbers, and knowing the percentages of each of those stages, from your lead to your phone self-scheduled, to show up rates, to actually turn into a studio, and how many goes into a paid trial, into conversions, and how long they stay for. Knowing all those numbers is going to help you manage your finances and what activities you need to focus on in your business.
Yeah. Mate, and let's so Jackson talked about a lot of things there, and you might guys honestly have to go back. He was talking about, his, how many leads he needs, about average cost per lead, about ad spend, about conversion rates. And I know if you aren't tracking your numbers, and I totally get it. 'Cause I didn't track my KPIs for like 4 years, and then we lost like 70 clients, and now I do it religiously in all my businesses. And Jackson, you probably knew you should do it as well.
Oh,
Right.
sure.
But you weren't for a while, and that's totally cool. We learn this stuff, but if someone wants to start to track their KPIs, right, what would be some key things that you recommend they track? And then how did you get in the routine of doing them regularly?
Well, firstly, I think, let me answer the second part, the routine diary. It's simple, right? Just
it's
simple,
crazy.
right?
It's
put
rocket
diary.
science, guys. Jackson's Elon Musk there. Put it in your fucking diary.
Put in a diary, half an hour once a week. Track your numbers, write everything down. It's just not that hard. Like if you're not doing it, just do it. I think I remember Matt told me that once. He said, just do it. Like how hard could it be? Just if you're not doing it, just simply do it. Put it in a diary and make it into a habit. And I think what to track, I did go through quite a few different stats I was tracking. I think to begin with, firstly, track your lead volume.
Yep.
And then secondly, I think track what your core rate is in terms of getting into an actual consult.
Yep.
And then track what numbers you go into a membership. Just those three key factors going to help you to understand what areas you need to be working on. Is it the lead volume that's the problem, or is it the actual conversion into a consult that's the problem, or is the actual conversion rate into membership that's the problem? So just even those three things will be more than enough to get you started. Then you can start going to some detailed stuff like, are they showing up for the consults, and so on and so on.
Yep. It's always like when I kind of think about like my companies, my previous, we always used to identify what's the three biggest numbers that drive this business. So, if Jackson and I were, hopefully get to go on holiday soon, say if we're in the Philippines, what's just the three numbers that we'll need to see every week? And if you know those numbers and what's important to you, whether, it's trials started, cancellations, like whatever it is, but just those three numbers are key. And 100% down the line, there's more data that you can track.
Yeah.
But just start by tracking three things. So Jackson said, or you might pick a couple of others, but then you can build out to a couple of more metrics. But if you have like 40 different metrics you're tracking, you're not going to do it. So we recommend no more than 9, but just start off with 3.
Yeah.
Right. Put it in your diary. Now, mate, I want to mention a bit on sales training because you've done a bit of coaching. So with Matt Ryder and the guys from, I think it's called Closing Code.
Closing Code, Sales Snipers,
Sales Sniper. So we work with Sales Sniper as well. If anyone ever wants to join our programs, we chatted to guys from them. They're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But how did Matt Ryder and his team like really help you improve your sales? Was there like, 1 or 2 really light bulb things that they taught you that really improved? Because you went out of this world really quickly.
Yeah.
I remember I was just like, holy shit, he's the real deal now. And that's how, like, I've known Matt for many years, but what were the, like, just couple of things that they taught you that really took you to like superstar level in this sales process?
I think one of the things that Matt helped with me, because we did one-on-one coaching with him with the sales process. And one of the things that he helped me identify was firstly, the mindset in terms of going to a sales call. And secondly, what we're trying to do in a sales call and what we're trying to lead them into in the sales process. And what we worked on was a lot of tonalities and a lot of things about the scripting and having a framework that we work with to really identify how the journey that the client needs to go through. And once we identify those key factors, we're able to handle a lot of objections well before the actual closing the deal, doing the pitch. And I think that was the thing that he helped me with in identifying the different areas I need to work on in the sales process, and to really make sure that on the phone call, I'm the one that's leading the conversation or leading the journey. Actually, what was funny, I was actually training my staff this morning, and I was saying exactly the same thing to him. I said, your job as a salesperson or the one on the phone is not to answer questions. It's your job to lead them with the questions you ask them to the direction that you want to go. Yep. And I think that's the thing that we want to try and identify as a sales process. That's what he did for him. He's like, okay, this is a journey, this is the end result, but these are the questions, and this is how you need to ask them to make sure you can take them to that place.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I did like one-on-one coaching with Matt as well
Mm.
a while back. And then obviously working with the team. And I just think the way that they can structure, Matt gave me a really amazing script to follow through. It was like, it truly was a work of art. And I know he's changed it a lot now because he's done his stuff with Jeremy Minor, but I think just having a mentor, I saw like with Matt, he's super direct, eh? Like he's like, he just like tells you how it is, which is good. Like sometimes he's just like, you know, just fucking get it done, Jimmy. Like,
that was just really crap.
But one of the things that I found with like being around Matt and the sales snipers is Matt, I was on a call with Matt the other day and he fills you with confidence.
Yeah.
Like he'll just like say shit. He's like, this sale's so fucking easy. You should do this. You're the best at what you do. It's simple. And I think he has a great power in doing that to everyone he's around because he's so confident in sales. He sold everything, Matt, like fitness sales, I think closed like super high ticket coaching programs. I think he's even done some like massive, like $1 million deals.
Yeah, that's right.
But I find like whenever I watch Matt's videos and I listen to his podcast every week, I just feel more confident on a sales call. And it's just everything piecing together. And I think it's so important to be around those amazing people because if you ever get to, I don't know if you guys watch this, but if you ever get to spend like 15 minutes or an hour with, you know, Matt Ryder or Matt Boone, make sure you cherish it because he is truly like the best in the world at what he does. And
for sure. Yeah.
Now as well, like we're lucky in the inner circle, we get to work with Brad as well. He's an absolute weapon. Brad will close like $600 sales over the phone for his gym, TBC. He has a system called goals-based selling. With Brad, I know you've talked a lot with Brad and you've followed his systems. Is there anything you've kind of picked up from him as well that has really helped along your process of becoming better at sales?
Yeah, I think I was talking to Brad the other day, and I think one of the things with Brad is that whole concept of goal-based selling is just so important, especially when it comes to selling the fitness, right? You need to really identify the reason for them before they actually make that commitment. Like no one buys based on logic. Like especially when it comes to fitness, they need to buy on emotions. So what Brad has done with his system is really just, you know, again, giving you the framework to be able to lead your prospect or your clients down this journey, down this path or journey to go, okay, I know where you are today, where you want to be in 6 months' time, 12 months' time. What's the goal? What's the emotion behind it? And once you identify that what Brad's system is doing is just helping you to, again, put a frame together so that it's easier for you to follow, so you can actually identify where you could improve. And one of the things I've learned in the process in sales is that if you're not following a process or you're not following a script, you're not going to be able to improve because you don't know where you're going wrong.
Yep.
Like a lot of people just, I've done it before. We all done it. Like we just wing it on the phone. We think I know what I'm talking about, but really, if you're not having a script, one, not only can you not identify what you're doing wrong, it's also very hard for you to teach somebody else.
Yep.
And you and I both know that your business starts to grow very quickly when you can start replicating what you do and duplicate your sales process with other people.
Yeah, no. And guys, for those following along, not knowing what goals-based selling is, it's kind of internal lingo in our paid program. And essentially, it's where you have a consultation and you sell people the program based on their goals. So whether that's a 6 month, whether it's a 12 month, whether it's a 2-year program, but it's where instead of like just selling someone a 28-day challenge because that's the offer, it's actually finding out and, you know, being a doctor in the process and going, hey, Jimmy, you know, you don't actually need the 28-day, you need this program, like here's why. Yeah. And that's kind of goals-based selling. And the proviso is you can get someone in on a free trial and, you know, end up selling them a year membership paid in full. Yeah. But that's kind of in our program, guys. If you're ever interested, Jackson's a coach in our program. Brad's a coach as well. We won't go into it too deeply. Mate, I want to finish a little bit because, you know, your gym's like cranking it at the moment, but you've built out a new amazing business. And I was talking to a guy, Denny, this morning. He's about to open a gym and he goes, what would be the first thing you bought if you bought a gym? And I said it would be ACR. That, like, guys watching this would be before I even bought fucking a dumbbell, right? Because no sales system, no point having dumbbells. So, and we kind of laugh about this because when we first met, I was like, Jackson, pick up the phone and call more. Every single day I was like, call more, call more, call more. We used to have full-time sales reps in our clubs just calling, but you don't need to do that anymore. So mate, tell us a bit about ACR. I think you're working with about 60 to 70 gym owners at the moment and getting incredible results. So tell us a bit about it and why you're so passionate, because you absolutely love this.
I love it. I think one of the most frustrating things about any fitness professional is the follow-up, right? It's you get to a point where you're growing your business. You get to a point in your business, you get so busy with, and it's not too bad when you kind of like get to like 20 clients, 30 clients, and then you get to a point you're doing 60 clients, running more classes, running more sessions, you got more responsibilities. All of a sudden, you get to a point in the business where leads are coming in and you're too busy doing everything else. And then you no longer can grow. So your bottleneck becomes you. You can no longer follow. You can no longer catch up with the clients you need to. You're getting back to them 2-3 days later. The reality is, if you're not talking to the new leads coming in within the first, I say the first hour to 12 hours, you already lost most of them because they're already seeing about 10 other gyms ads in your area. Yep. So, if you're not calling them quickly or contacting them at least some way, shape and form, then you're really just missing out. And so what ACR, the platform, does is that it's essentially it's a nurturing sequence that sends them email, text, and voicemail drops. The moment that the lead comes into your system, it's already messaging them. It's already sending them an email acknowledging what they do, and it's very conversational. And then we also do voicemail drops to actually, hey, we got your message, and we just want to touch base with you. It's got a human interaction in it. And we don't. It's the system just does the work on the back end. Like, we'll follow them up in the morning, evening for the 3 or 4 days, and then they go into a daily follow up, because you've got to make sure you get in contact with them within the first 4 days in such a way you're almost pestering them. Like it's. I think you just got to have that tenacity. I think we were talking about this video the other day, the monster follower, right? Yep. Like we have to have this tenacity. Hey, you opt in. We're just trying to get in touch with you. Don't be afraid to go, oh, am I pestering? Yeah, you are. It's your job as a fitness professional to make sure you get in contact with them. And that's what this platform has helped in that we're prompting them to book a phone call that suits them. We want to put the ball back in the court, but in the process, we're still nurturing them, making sure we give them information about timetable, about what we do. Again, we're warming them up. So we're telling them a little bit about our story. And so we're providing the value on the front end. Say, now you know what we do, book a phone call that suits you. Because we're actually telling this the other day, because every phone call that someone books, that actually a self-scheduled phone call, is actually about an hour's worth of work.
Oh, it's crazy.
Like, I didn't realize this, but like, it's just so true. Because for you to actually look for the number, sit down, schedule a time, get a connection, like I think it was 1 in 10 or 12 dials, you get connection.
Our stats was, it was 1 in like 11.5 calls. So we used to put in frame, we used to have full-time appointment setters. So I knew if they made like 12 calls, we'd get 1 booking.
Yep.
It was just relentless follow-up. So,
exactly. And it's very time consuming to dial 12 phone calls. That's 2-3 minutes, right?
And Jackson, to be honest, like not many gym owners listening to this will be able to afford to have a full-time appointment setter their business. Like our clubs had 1,200 members when we got that. Yeah. And now if I had a gym with 3 clubs, like I still wouldn't do it. I wouldn't get an appointment setter anymore, because appointment setters don't work 24 hours a day. And ACR does. Like someone opts in, they get like literally email and text 1 minute later, like done, because they're already online, right? They've just opted in, so they're by their phone.
Exactly. And then we're tapping into the messenger as well too. So we're literally, the system just taps into 4 different platforms of contact. Email, messenger, SMS, and then you go phone call. So you're trying to be as to anyone. You just follow it as much as you possibly can when you have got someone coming in.
If you want to make money and you don't want to follow up, just shut your gym, right? Like just fucking, if you're listening and you're scared to follow up people per task day, just shut it down, right? Because you're not going to make any money. Like sales is about follow up, right? Yeah. Like literally the person who follows up the most wins. Yes, some people will tell you to go away, probably a bit harsher than that, but you want to get your stats up, and you've just got to do it. Like we're talking about the monster follow-up, which is 2 contacts twice a day for 5 days, and that's industry standard. And to have something that does that for you without you having to lift a finger is quite amazing. And the reason why I jumped over ACR, I know it's not like relevant to you guys because I'm like a business coach, I don't own a gym anymore, but it wiped out like ClickFunnels. It wiped out Schedule Once. I didn't have to log into Text Magic for like our broadcasting. It limited like my Zapier. I used to have accounts. We used to use like Woofu a lot as well, but it's got all the forms in there and stuff.
Yep.
And it's actually really cool because we can track where people, it has all our landing pages. So then when people join our program, I can track what they clicked on and when they clicked on it. And I can start to see like the journey as well. And also like just like the phone scheduling on it, how like guys use it. Because Dave last week, I was talking to him and he got 16 leads and 8 self-scheduled and booked. And he's like, that's pretty good. And I'm like, Dave, that is off the charts. Like if I ever had that, like you don't know how lucky you are because you haven't done the time where you've made like 70, 80, 90 calls a day. And that just ruins your life doing that consistently. And you used to have to do it, but now you don't. So it's got membership in there as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, right? I think it's interesting. I think most people, because they don't value that 1 or 2 bookings a week, because they didn't have that 60 leads coming in on a weekly basis, they had to follow up so quickly. Like it seems like you can't justify. Doesn't seem like very much when you're only getting 5 leads coming in. So I've got time for it. Yeah, you're right. Can I scale at 5 leads? When you want to grow quickly or want to grow into a particular space, so you want 3, 4, 5, 5 memberships every single week, you really need to lead volume. And when you have lead volume, that's when you got to have a really good follow-up process to make sure you can get to those conversion rate at the end of it.
Yeah, because mate, we used to use gym leads and I don't know what they're about. And I love gym leads, by the way. They helped us get to our members. But one of the things I used to hate is firstly, you couldn't call off the system. So I couldn't track how many dials my guys made. And then also you'd have to click buttons to text. And I'm like, why wouldn't I just fucking do it in my phone, right? So to have it go automatically out, the emails go out for it to track everything. I'm sure there's other systems like it. I haven't seen anything to like this level. So guys, if you're generating over 15 leads, I would have ACR. Jackson obviously got it known. I highly recommend it. We'll make sure I'll leave a couple of links down the notes so you can reach out to myself or Jackson directly and I can connect you guys up. It's definitely worth looking at. And Jackson, mate, that's it for today. You survived. It was
I survived.
Well, we talk like every day. So
we do. It's a bit of a chat, really.
Yeah, no, mate. It was really good to have you on, and mate, I'm so happy with your journey. Obviously, adding 100 members was kind of crazy. I didn't see it happening because you just changed, not even slowly. You changed so quickly, and maybe we can get on to talk about why that change happened with the business partners another day. But you just went absolute beast mode from the day you bought that business yourself, and not many people do it, mate. Like, not many people listening to this podcast can say they added 100 members in like 7 months. So. Mate, congratulations on everything. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And no doubt we'll have you on down the line, or if not, I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, man.